It might seem strange to imagine a Tesla with only two doors leading the next electric car revolution, but that's exactly what's happening. In 2026, Tesla decided to break its own patterns and revealed a model that nobody expected, the new Model 2. And no, it's not a shrunken version of the Model 3. It's a complete reinvention, bolder, more functional, and with design choices that are already making competitors sweat. The two-door hatchback, which costs less than $15,000, arrives precisely to prove that accessibility doesn't have to mean looking like a simple car. And those who expected a cramped compact will be surprised by what this beauty holds inside. Despite being almost 23 centimeters shorter and 8 centimeters lower than the Model 3, the Model 2 offers a more spacious interior. Yes, more. With a total volume of 2,450 liters between the cabin and trunk, it delivers up to 20% more usable space. This was only possible thanks to a masterstroke by the engineers. They completely redesigned the roof, angled the rear pillar, and raised the trunk lid, creating a new hatchback profile with much more utility. A subtle visual change, but one that makes all the difference in practice. The icing on the cake is the invisible engineering. By slightly moving the rear motor forward and repositioning the cooling modules under the subframe, Tesla managed to create a completely flat floor. And that changes everything. The extra depth in the trunk is immediately apparent, while the rear aerodynamics also improve. It's not just about fitting more stuff, it's about doing it with style, efficiency, and intelligence. From the outside, you wouldn't imagine how much technical maneuvering this car hides. Even though it's a two-door, it doesn't force anyone to squeeze in. The front doors open generously, at 15 meters wide and with a 37-degree articulation, measurements comparable to much more expensive coupes, such as the BMW 2 Series. To top it off, the seats are thinner and the dashboard has been recessed in depth, freeing up a precious 42 mm more for the rear passenger's knees. These are millimeter-precise adjustments, but they show the care taken not to sacrifice comfort, even in a car designed to be compact. The Model 2 was also designed with urban purposes in mind, and this is reflected even in the experience of getting in and out of the car in tight parking spaces. The shorter length helps, but it's the optimization of interior space that truly shines here. Tesla understood that the secret isn't in adding centimeters to the car, but rather in redesigning how each centimeter is used. And frankly, few automakers in the world would take such a big risk with an entry-level car. Elon Musk seems more interested in surprising than in following the obvious script. Incidentally, a personal observation is in order here. The Model 2 gives that ideal first car feeling, but with a premium soul. Everything about it is designed to delight those buying their first electric car, without making it seem like you're sacrificing quality or style. It's simple where it needs to be simple, and ingenious where it can make a real difference. Those who have never owned a Tesla will feel spoiled, and those who have owned one will find it strange how so much innovation fits into such an affordable model. Another thing that stands out is the visual balance. The Model 2 has well-defined proportions, clean lines, and a higher rear end that helps give the car a robust look, even though it's compact. It's modern without being over the top, youthful without looking like a toy. It's the kind of car that can be used by a student or an executive, and both will feel comfortable in it. This visual neutrality, combined with Tesla's strong identity, makes it a kind of wild card in the portfolio. This bold design, of course, doesn't stop at the visual aspect or the interior space. It extends to how the Model 2 handles on the streets, and that's where it shows it was created for the urban jungle, with a turning radius of just 5.15 meters, tighter than that of a Mazda Miata. This means it can make a complete turn on narrow streets, where most electric cars would still need 2 or 3 maneuvers. It's as if Tesla created a car that understands the anxiety of someone trying to get out of a parking space during rush hour. And this isn't just an advantage for those who live in large cities. Even in smaller towns, this agility completely changes the driving experience. The feeling of lightness is immediately apparent in the first few meters. The car weighs less than 1,150 kgs, and this number is no accident. Tesla invested heavily in its famous 9,000-ton Gigapress, molding the rear of the Model 2 from a single piece of cast aluminum. This reduced the number of welding points by 40% and the assembly time by 67%. The energy savings in production are also significant, 30% less compared to the Model 3. In other words, less energy spent in the factory and more efficiency in the consumer's pocket. And it's not just the manufacturing process that impresses. The resulting structure is truly solid. With fewer seams, the car gains rigidity and stability in curves, which translates into more safety and control. The Model 2 doesn't sway unnecessarily, doesn't vibrate where it doesn't need to, and responds quickly to the steering wheel. It seems that, even being the brand's cheapest car, it has inherited the DNA of much more expensive cars. This is one of those things that doesn't appear in the technical specifications, but that you can feel with your whole body when you drive. And speaking of feel, the Model 2's steering has been calibrated to deliver an experience much closer to that of a sports car than a conventional city compact. The new front suspension geometry system and lightweight give the car a direct, almost instinctive response. It feels like it anticipates hand movements. This is not only fun, but also extremely useful in heavy traffic, where quick decisions make all the difference. And then, again, that feeling of driving something bigger and better than the price suggests. The urban design is also reflected in the focus on fuel consumption and overall efficiency. Every component of the Model 2 was designed to use less energy without sacrificing performance. The car is lightweight, yes, but not fragile. It was designed to withstand the rigors of heavy use, and that includes potholes, speed bumps, and constant braking. For those who drive a lot in the city and don't want to be held hostage to constant recharging, this type of optimization is very important. After all, time is precious, and nobody wants to waste precious minutes stuck at a charger. Another interesting detail is the weight distribution. Even with the rear end cast as a single piece, the positioning of the battery and motors has been strategically adjusted to keep the center of gravity low and well-centered. This gives a feeling of balance that is rare in small cars, where there is usually a strong tendency to oversteer or nosedive in tight corners. Here, the car remains stable, predictable, and comfortable, even when put to the test at high speeds. Now, if there's one thing that stands out amidst all this, it's how the Model 2 makes something extremely complex seem easy, combining lightness with structural rigidity. This is only possible because Tesla has altered the foundation of the production process, not just the finishes. It's an engineering leap that few automakers are willing to make, especially in a car that will sell for less than $15,000. While others cut corners on what the customer sees, Tesla invested in what the customer feels. But what really starts to grab your attention in the Model 2, after you understand its structure and agility, is its front design. And it's not just an aesthetic issue. The Model 2's headlight is a game-changer. Instead of two traditional units, Tesla opted for a single continuous LED strip that runs across the entire front, directly inspired by the minimalist style of the Cybertruck. The idea may seem too bold for an entry-level car, but that's precisely what makes it so striking. This headlight isn't just beautiful. It's intelligent, economical, and efficient, like few automakers have dared to be. The system consumes only 92 watts, even with the high beam activated. That's 25% less than the current Model 3 Highland system. And here's the magic. Less consumption means more range. In real-world tests, this simple detail resulted in up to 5 miles more range per charge. It may seem like a small amount at first glance, but when it comes to a city car, every kilometer counts. And if this gain comes only from the lighting, imagine what else Tesla has optimized in this car. Now, behind that elegant line of light lies an impressive technical design. The chips used, are the Osram Olan Black Flat, which deliver approximately 1,800 lumens per watt. The assembly is powered by a voltage of 9.8 volts, below the standard 12 VI. This already gives an idea of the level of efficiency that the engineers sought. Furthermore, the internal structure of the headlight has been completely redesigned to eliminate unnecessary parts. Instead of multiple modules with connectors and heat sinks, there is now a single sealed aluminum housing with a circuit board and only one high-voltage connector. This new design reduced the number of electrical connections from 46 to just 18 points, meaning less risk of failure, lower cost, and greater durability. For the car owner, this is almost a guarantee that typical headlight problems, water infiltration, poor contact, intermittent failure, simply won't happen. And this makes a difference especially for those who live in more humid regions or face significant temperature variations throughout the year. Beyond efficiency and durability, there's a practical improvement. The new headlight illuminates further. Tesla applied a vacuum-reflective coating inside the housing, which extended the high beam range to approximately 155 meters, without adding more LEDs, without increasing fuel consumption. All done through precision engineering. And there's also the bonus of reducing glare for oncoming drivers, a concern that, honestly, few brands demonstrate in cheaper models. And as if all that wasn't enough, the front assembly also weighs less. The new, simpler chassis removed 1.6 kilos from the front of the car. Does that seem like a small amount? Well, it helps with weight distribution and improves steering response at higher speeds. It's the kind of detail that doesn't appear in commercials, but makes all the difference in practice. And the savings don't stop there. This new system also reduces production costs by about $85 per unit. That's money Tesla can reinvest in other parts of the car, or pass on in the form of a lower final price. The most interesting thing is that this change wasn't just made to impress. It's functional on every level. It reduces fuel consumption, improves range, increases safety, reduces malfunctions, and even modernizes the look. It's rare to see such a complete solution implemented with such care, especially in a car that aims to be the most affordable in the Tesla line. You could say that this headlight is almost a silent manifesto. Less is more, as long as the less is very well thought out. This question gains even more weight when we start looking at the material the Model 2 is made of, and the answer, once again, is anything but conventional. Instead of following the traditional automotive painting process, with multiple layers of primer, base coat, and clear coat, all requiring energy, chemicals, and a lot of water, Tesla decided to try something completely new: a car without paint. Yes, you read that right. The Model 2 may be the first mass-produced Tesla to roll off the line without a single drop of paint. This radical change was only possible because Tesla developed a new metal alloy that blends steel, aluminum, and manganese, creating a material that is inherently sophisticated and naturally resistant to scratches, oxidation, and UV rays. This special alloy is about 8% lighter than the one used in the Model 3, removing approximately 45 kg from the car. But the most interesting thing isn't even that. It's also 15% more rigid, which means less structural torsion and more stability in curves and collisions. A lighter and stronger car at the same time? That's not common. And the finish? Forget that shine of traditional automotive paint. The new process uses a dry deposition with a vaporized protective film that fuses directly to the metal. This creates a matte, satin texture that looks like it came straight out of a futuristic movie. It doesn't peel, it doesn't fade, and best of all, it doesn't require constant maintenance like conventional paint. For the owner, it's less of a headache. For the environment, it's a relief. Tesla estimates a reduction of up to 40 kilos of CO2 per car just with this change in manufacturing. Another interesting side effect: since there's no paint, there's also no paint to pollute at the end of the vehicle's lifespan. This greatly facilitates the recycling of the car body. Each part returns to the industrial cycle without the cost and the waste of having to be treated to remove varnish or pigment. It's a step forward not only in efficiency, but also in ecological circularity, a concept that is increasingly essential in the automotive industry. Furthermore, this new approach eliminates one of the most expensive and time-consuming stages of production, the paint booth. It is estimated that, in the traditional process, painting a single car can cost up to $3,000, considering labor, materials, time, and energy. With the new dry finish, this cost practically disappears. This gives Tesla a huge margin to keep the Model 2's price competitive, or to invest in other areas such as batteries and embedded technology. From a visual standpoint, the result is something that still divides opinions. Some love the raw, metallic look, reminiscent of spaceships and robots. Others still turn up their noses at it for looking unfinished. But one thing is certain: the car attracts attention on the streets, and this somewhat industrial, somewhat sci-fi aspect perfectly matches the Model 2's proposition as a disruptive car. It's not trying to look like a classic sedan. It wants to look like the future. And it's succeeding. And as if all that wasn't innovative enough, Tesla even found time to pay attention to two of the most underrated parts of any car: the door handles and the rearview mirrors. It's the kind of thing many automakers only change out of obligation or for aesthetics, but not here. In the Model 2, every detail has been redesigned with real purpose, and the results are impressive. It might seem like an exaggeration to say that the door handles are one of the biggest advancements in the car, but you only need to use one to understand why. The old recessed handle from the Model 3, which required a certain amount of force and finesse, is gone. In its place is a new horizontal pull system that reduces the opening force from 30 to just 18 newtons. It seems like a small difference, but it completely changes the user experience. And what's even better, in tests under sub-zero temperatures, this new handle withstood 980 cycles of use without jamming, while the old one began to fail due to ice buildup after 170 cycles. This shows that, in addition to being more practical, it is also more resistant to extreme climates. Inside, the mechanism has also been simplified. The number of moving parts has dropped from 9 to 5, meaning less wear and tear over time and less chance of defects. Anyone who has ever had a door jammed because of a broken spring knows the value of that. And as a bonus, the new system allows Tesla technicians to make replacements or repairs almost a minute faster per door. Time that, on the assembly line, represents money saved and more agile production. The side mirrors have received a noteworthy engineering treatment. The reflective area has been enlarged from 35 to 39 square inches, which may seem small, but offers 4 inches more of lateral visibility. This improvement reduces the blind spot to less than 1.9 degrees, surpassing any compact EV sold today in North America. For those who drive in urban areas full of pedestrians, cyclists, and motorcycles,